Welcome to Book Buddies, where today we are going to be looking into Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. I read this book because it is actually the inspiration for the Hayao Miyazaki movie, which I absolutely love, and I had a really fun time with it. It focuses on Sophie, who's a teenage girl, and she is turned into an old lady, and because of that, she kind of has to leave her home, and she ends up in Howl's Moving Castle. And she does not really know Howl. She's heard rumors about him, about how he eats people's hearts, and he probably shouldn't be trusted. But as the story goes on, she and Howl, and along with Howl's buddies Michael and Calcifer, grow a really sweet, fun bond with Sophie, as she learns more about Howl, but also about herself, and finally is able to get the life that she wants and return to her former age. So what I really love about this book is it's very cozy. I believe this does have a younger demographic. It's a little bit more middle grade, young adult rather than adult. And because of that, it's easy to read, get into. I definitely think it would be fun to just curl up in a blanket, light a candle, and just dive into the book. And also it's quite quirky. I mean, Calcifer is a fire demon essentially, and he makes a little deal with Sophie about okay, you can stay here, but later on this is gonna happen. And Sophie takes it because, she wants to be young again. She doesn't like being 90 after being, a teenager. But also, the writing style of the book is really fun. I primarily think of the chapter names. So, all the chapters have names. And after reading a lot of books where the chapters don't have names, this was fun. But the way the chapters are named, it'll have the chapter number, and then it'll kind of give a sentence about what happens, such as Chapter 1, in which Sophie talks to Hats. Chapter 2, in which Sophie is compelled to seek her fortune. Chapter 3, in which Sophie enters into a castle and a bargain. And I think that kind of gives off this fairy tale vibe where you're given a little bit of a taste of what's to come. The story is simple, relatively simple, but it's also very unique and uncommon. And it kind of gives off Alice in Wonderland vibes because there are some kind of wacky moments and you're not entirely sure what's going on. And there's a hint of an episodic feeling, so I think if you enjoy that, you'll have fun with this. I will say I did find some aspects a little underdeveloped. There are moments where, I think specifically in the middle of the book, a lot of characters are introduced. I believe Howl has a few family members, and I think they were a little bit underdeveloped by the end of the book. And I will say there were times I kind of forgot that Sophie was turned old, which, considering that's one of the big starting points of the story, is how she's turned old and then how she has to go. So I think that could have been given a little bit more focus. However, when it comes to our four main characters, they are definitely a big highlight for me. Sophie is, an average girl, but she's also really charming. She doesn't have a whole lot of self-confidence, but she's also very chill, which I kind of like. I mean, she does freak out a little bit when she's turned into an old woman, but she took it better than I probably would have. And when she's at Howl's castle and he's being kind of a man-child and difficult, she's able to hold her own, especially because she's kind of able to control Calcifer a little bit because of the deal they made. And that's sort of what allows her to stay. And then Howl, he's really interesting. I remember hearing a little bit about the book before I read it, how the book is more how Sophie saw the events, while the movie is more how Howl saw the events, because I feel like Howl in the book is a little bit more of a man-child than this dashing, mysterious figure. But I think that's what makes Howl a fun character, is how he's kind of careless and so over the top. And he does get a bit of a character arc, and he and Sophie grow closer, and it's really sweet and beautiful. We also have Michael, who is Howl's assistant slash apprentice. He's about 15, I believe, and he's kind of an awkward teenage boy, but he's also really sweet. I think he has a little bit of a crush on this girl, and the way he talks to Sophie about her is just really sweet. And actually, that's a good adjective for this book. It's really sweet and fun. And I would say, if you enjoy books like Alice in Wonderland, Peter Pan, or even Emily Wilde's trilogy, which I reviewed a couple of weeks ago, I would definitely recommend going into Howl's Moving Castle. And also, this is actually the first of a series. You also have Castle in the Air and House of Many Ways. I'm not going to review them in this video because I feel like they're more companion novels rather than complete sequels. I think Castle in the Air, Sophie's really in it like the last third at most, and Howl's in there just a little bit. And I think they are more prominent in House of Many Ways, but I didn't want to like have to do what I did with my medieval fairy tale trilogy, where I have to talk about each book because they are so different. So I'm just talking about this book today, and if you want to hear my thoughts about those other books, just let me know and I'll make time for it. So those are all of my thoughts. If you enjoyed this, please share it with your friends. I'm Louisa Hammond, and I'll see you next time.